everyone, welcome to Vishesh Educational Videos. In this video, I am explaining the history of database application. So history means the evaluation of our database applications from early 1960s to till date, right? So let me begin the explanation of history of database applications. So early database applications are hierarchical and network models. So hierarchical database means it is a tree-like structure database. The parent and child relationship, right, is maintained in a hierarchical database, right? So network model means you are going to store the data in the nodes. Nodes are nothing but the systems that are connected in a network, right? So in hierarchical model, you are going to store the data in the form of tree structure, that is parent and child relationship. And network model means you are going to store the information, that is data, in the nodes, right? So this hierarchical model and network model were introduced in mid 1960s, right? And they were dominated during the 70s. Getting, guys? So earlier we are storing the data in the form of hierarchical database and network databases. So hierarchical database means in the tree structure, in the form of tree structure. Network model means we are going to store the data in the form of nodes in a network, right? And one of the most important thing in hierarchical and network model is, right, worldwide database processing is still occurs using these models. Yes, nowadays we are using RDBMS, but still this network model, network database and hierarchical database is still in use. So after hierarchical model and a network model, we came across, right, with a relational database system. So relational database system or a relational model was originally introduced in 1970. So relational model means in this my data is stored in the form of rows and columns. So whatever the database we are using today, MySQL or Oracle, is a example for a relational database system where you can see the data is stored in the form of rows and columns. And this relational database is invented by IBM. So you can see there it is experimented in IBM, right? Getting, guys? So earlier in the early 1960s, the data is stored in the form of hierarchical databases and network databases. After hierarchical databases and network databases in 1970, they introduced relational database. The relational database means data is stored in the form of rows and columns, that is in the table format. Next, so after relational database, they introduced object-oriented database management systems, OODBMS. So object-oriented database management systems are nothing but they were using some object-oriented concepts to store the data. So they were introduced in the late 1980s and early 1990s. So mainly they introduced object-oriented database management systems for complex data processing in CAD, that is computer aided design, and other applications. So object-oriented database, they were storing the data by using some features of object-oriented language, like for example using inheritance concept, right, using a polymorphism concept. They are using those inheritance and polymorphism concept to store the data, right? And object oriented database management system use has not taken off much. They were not popular, right? So but many relational DBMS have incorporated object oriented database concepts, leading to a new category called object relational DBMS. Here the mixture of both object and relational database. Here I already told you object oriented means I can use some object oriented concepts like encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism while storing the data in the databases, right? So earlier network database they were using, hierarchical database they were using. After that relational database they introduced. Next object oriented database management systems were introduced. Along with that object oriented and combination of object oriented concepts plus relational database were introduced, right? Next, so extended relational systems, right? So extended relational system means uh, th- I can't store the data only in the table format, right? Along with that I need the data for different for various applications, different applications. So that's why they introduced extended relational systems. These extended relational systems they add further capabilities for multimedia, for storing multimedia data. Multimedia data means audio video data. You can best example is a YouTube where I can store a video data, video and audio data. So today storing the data means not only the text, right? So I can store audio, video, images like that, right? So that's why extended relational systems were introduced. So I need this type of databases also. So especially storing the web related data on the web and e-commerce application. E-commerce application means right, for business purpose, Flipkart, Amazon. So they also store the data, right? So I need to store the website data and e-commerce data, right? So web data, you know that the web contains the data in the form of HTML, that is hypertext markup languages. Website means I'm going to link two or more web pages that are written in the HTML, right? So I need to store this type of data in the databases also, right? That's why they introduced extended relational systems. And also uh, when you are able to store the website data in the database, this has given rise to the very new set of applications, right? So after HTML they introduced XML. XML means extended markup language, right? So using XML they started also along with XML they started using scripting languages like PHP and JavaScript to develop the web pages, dynamic web pages. So right, so when the dynamic web pages have introduced, obviously I need a database that can store this web content, right? So that's why they introduced this extended relational systems to store this type of content. So when you are capable of storing this web content in a database, that lead to variety of applications, right? That lead to discovery of variety of applications. You can see here new functionality is being added to DBMS in the following areas, because I can store the web related data now, right? That's why they started developing applications, scientific applications to store the right scientific data can also be stored in the database. For example, right, research data, scientific research data of different format can also be stored in the databases because of this inventions in the database. Not only that, I can store image storage and management. Nowadays you know that you can use Instagram, right? So Instagram you can store that will store image, right? So you can store the image in the database. Not only that, audio and video data management. YouTube, best example of YouTube is invented. So where you can store audio and video data management. See, because of all this extended database capabilities, nowadays I can store all these things, right? Not only that, data warehousing and data mining. So you can you can store the data in the database and use the data for the data mining, right? So data mining is a nowadays data mining is very popular. So also along with that, I can use the database to store the spatial data management, right? Three-dimensional data. So those things can also be stored in the database. And historical data, time series data, real-time data also can be stored in the database. You can see there. So earlier only you are storing the data in the hierarchical format, network database, right? But as the time progress, So he invented relational database, object oriented database, and also extended relational database, right? So far, that's why you can store all the different data now, right? So so obviously, even today, so many research is going on regarding the database and storage structures of the database, right? Now, along with this video of explaining the the history of the database, I'm also going to explain about the when not to use a DBMS, right? That means uh, you should not use DBMS when some of the things are not appropriate. When not to use a DBMS? Yes, a DBMS has a lot of advantages. You can use the DBMS for variety of application, but in some cases, using DBMS doesn't make sense, right? You should avoid DBMS in some of the cases. Now, what are those cases where I can avoid DBMS? You can avoid DBMS in some circumstances. When to avoid the DBMS? So this thing is about when to avoid the DBMS, usage of DBMS. See, so costs of using a DBMS. When you can avoid the DBMS means high initial investment and possible need for additional hardware, right? So when there is high investment, obviously the cost of using a DBMS will be more, right? So when there is high initial investment and possible need for additional hardware, when you need some extra hardwares and high initial investments were there, so you can avoid the DBMS. It's not a good idea to use a DBMS when there is a initial investment and possible need for additional hardware, right? And also, when you can avoid DBMS means overhead of providing generality, security, concurrency control, recovery, and integrity functions, right? When there is a difficulty for you to provide the security to your database, concurrency control to your database, recovery option to your database, you can avoid your DBMS database, right? Because if there is a overhead, obviously it will cause problems for you, right? That's why you can avoid that using of DBMS when there is a extra workload of providing a security, concurrency control, recovery. If there is a need, yes, if there is a need to provide security, recovery, if it is must, then you can go for a DBMS. But if it's causing a problem, no need to use the database. Getting, guys? So not only that, so because overhead, one thing, overhead, right, increases the costs, right? That's why cost is also one of the important factor. That's why you can avoid using the database if it's cost, if it is right, causing a trouble, economic trouble. Economic means if it's if money is more, you can avoid using that. If you think that money is more for maintaining all these things, you can avoid that. Also, along with that, when you think DBMS may be unnecessary means the database and applications are simple. If you're developing a simple applications that are well defined and not expected to change, then DBMS is not necessary because it's a simple application. So for that applications you can maintain with some files itself, right? So no need to develop a database here, right? And you are if you are sure that your requirements are not going to change, then just avoid the database. Just file processing is enough, right? When this is a case. Next, if there are stringent real-time requirements, right? So if there are real-time requirements needs to be maintained, then you can avoid the database, because when there is a real-time requirements has to be maintained in a database, definitely it will be difficult task for you. It will right, it will cause the overhead. Obviously it will the cost will be very high. So you can't maintain real-time requirements using the simple DBMS. So that's why you can avoid that, right? Getting, guys? Next, if access to data by multiple users is not required, you know that when we use a DBM database means when we need to give the access to multiple users, concurrent users. That is the main advantage of DB. You know that, right? So multiple users can use the database simultaneously. So if your application doesn't need that access of a multiple users, don't use the database. Obviously, it will increase the cost, right? If your application is for a single user, then what is the need to use the DB? Just you can use the file processing, right? So that's why when there is no multiple users using the database, no need to use the database approach. And one more, and all the and other reasons when not to use a DBMS means if the database system is not able to handle the complexity of data, right, then no need to use the database. Your database system, right, should be in a position to handle the complexity of the data. The main need of the database is to handle the complexity of the data. If a database system is not able to handle the complexity of the data because of some modeling limitations, then don't use the DB, right? Along with that, if the database users need special operations, suppose if you think the database users need some extra operations that are not supported by the DBMS, then why you need to use the DB? Getting, guys? If it supports the special operations that are needed by the user, then go for the DBMS. If you right, then if you want to use a different right database or a different, sorry, if you want to use a different programs to provide special operations, then don't go for the database approach, because no need, right? If it is not supporting, then what is the use of using the database approach? Getting, guys? So in this video, in the first part, I have discussed about the history, right? So in that history, so in the early 1960s, you know that the data was stored in the hierarchical and the network database. Later they introduced a relational database. After that they introduced object oriented database. Then relational plus object oriented database they introduced, right? After that, when the web came into existence, they what they did means they introduced extended database, relational database approach. So that's why varieties of applications were invented. For example, I told about the Instagram, YouTube, those examples, right? So in the second part of this video, I told about when not to use a DBMS. Database is not always a must thing, right? Sometimes you can avoid the database. When you have to avoid that. So I discussed several points when you can avoid your database. Sorry. So that's it, guys. I hope you understood the concepts. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Thank you. Thank you for watching the video.